Hello there, storytellers and dreamers. In the last episode of the series, which came a bit late, I agree, we talked about the basic most important rules of role-playing in MMOs. Now that you know where RP came from and what to avoid doing when starting out, you want to jump right in and enjoy the community. Right? But how? Well, I am here to give you the answer to this question. In this article, we will cover the steps you must take, and I emphasize on that, in order to have a good start in the RP community. First step is look for information. It may come as a no-brainer, but honestly, not many people actually check online forums and websites dedicated to the RP communities for each game. Granted, some have none, or they are outdated and useless. This should be your first go-to place for information. You can not only see active RP guilds, but also engage, socialize, build your character, which is covered in step 2 of this article, learn the lore, etc. You can find a device, although the communities are known for being noob unfriendly sometimes, you will surely stumble upon someone that is willing to help you. Great way of networking, by the way. This is pretty much what you must do. Search for the websites, join the forums, build your character there. Some websites and forums have dedicated sections for that, even pages like Wikipedia style, encyclopedia, online encyclopedia type pages for your characters and all that stuff. Mingle and socialize, network with players on your server for future encounters. Most of the RPers join the forums and you'll find most of them there. You can talk to them and organize something in the game. Who knows? And also get the general feel of the community. In order to take this leap in this new endeavor, jump to step 2 of the video, which is the second most important thing to the process of lore learning and information gathering. Keep in mind, you should at least have an account on the dedicated forum/website, learn the lore decently and engaged in a few conversations before going to step 2. That is you have to do these things, sorry. That's how my guide works, how this video works. For a list of links to communities and stuff like that, check the glossary at the end of the video or in the description down below. Step 2. Build your character. Now that you got the general feel of the community, took a few lore lessons from the lore masters, and perhaps even made a few contacts with active players, time to get ready to play. You can't simply just jump into it like any other player and make a fresh character. You are a role player now, and you need to have a particular mindset of thinking ahead and building your story. Let's talk about character building. You want your character to be special and unique, as real as a human being. First choice you have to make is race and class. These two concepts will set a starting point for your character's details, background, and personality. Each race and each class has its very own lore, a way of thinking, and an important personality traits, a set of traits, stereotypical traits, and beliefs, and a bunch of other stuff. For example, you are playing, let's say, Star Trek Online. You can't make a Romulan character that thinks and acts like a Klingon, because that's just how Romulans work. They don't think, they're not like Klingons. They're quite the opposite, in fact. Being born, I specify here, being born and raised by Romulans, because it could be the odd case of a Romulan raised by Klingons in secret, and that could alter its behavior, but that's another story. Okay, so it's simply impossible because of all the events in the race's history and evolution. It's hard to build those things, but they are essential for your character. All these little things that I'm going to talk about. You can't simply just jump into it like any other player and make a first char. That's basically the first thing you gotta think about. With your character's race, class, and faction chosen, you can start building your character's personality, from his drives and desires to the way he acts and thinks, his moral and ethic code, his little quirks and weaknesses, his strong points and talents. You can use the choices you just took, race, class, and faction, to help you in this process. At this point, possibilities are endless, so have your way and play with the mind and soul of your character until you can say that your character's personality is complete. Think about everything, like what's he good at, what he's not so good at, what's he likes, what he doesn't, what he hates, what drives him, what is his desire, what bleh, sorry, what does he want to accomplish in his life, and all these little things you have to decide and, write them down on a piece of paper or in a text file or something, just to have them structured in front of you so you know always what your character personality looks like. Alright, okay. A character you know everything about makes you confident that you can play and immerse yourself in properly. Okay, after you've figured out what your character is like mentally, it is time to customize your character's appearance. Depending on the game you're playing, you will be able to make your char look more unique or more generic. When the character customization system of the game does not go into as much detail as you would like or as you would want to, you can enforce certain details as scars, tattoos, markings, typical outfits, a weapon that he carries. You can write them down in the description of his appearance. You can write it down in a text file, like I said, or in a notebook or somewhere on a piece of paper, whatever. Writing everything about your character in a notebook or somewhere else is something that I deeply recommend in order to have everything organized and ready for when you'll need all these details. Also, you can describe the usual outfits even if you don't possess the items in game. Don't overdo it though. Don't go and give him legendary items or something like that. Just common outfits that everyone could have in their home, in their closet. Maybe a mage doesn't have only his blue robes that he always wears, but has a shirt and some leather pants back home in his locker room, So you have the look and feel of your character done. Now what? Well, it's time to think about what made your character what he is in the present. It's time to build his background story. This entails all the events from his birth to the current moment in the lore of the game. His life so far, implications, past or current relationships, wars, battles, tragedies, important moments, and the such will be included in this. You need to make sure that your backstory justifies your character's appearance, ethics, morality, and everything you built so far. It's the bubble that completes your character lore-wise, making him relevant and realistic in the setting of the game. I, for example, decided to go completely in-depth with my characters by writing the backstories in narrative form. See the glossary in the description below or at the end of the video, in which I include links to my fanfiction page, where you can read my first actual fanfiction that I actually published about my orc character. In order to give them as much substance and explaining everything with much more detail. I recommend doing that if you feel like it's your cup of tea. If you like writing narratives and short stories and stuff like that, it's a good way of improving your writing and at the same time, connecting it to your game experience. The backstory also gives opportunities to set certain personal goals and feelings based on past achievements of your character. Feelings such as hate, fear, shame, pride, disgust, all these things, you can justify them and even give how it happened, an explanation for them in the backstory. The final thing you should do before jumping into the game is obviously the name of your character. I let the name come in last, because it is a lot easier to find an appropriate name for your character simply by taking things from previous build phases. It can be chosen depending on race, with additional nicknames and such to emphasize on his personality, appearance, or backstory. With these things done, time to get in the game and go to step 3. Keep in mind, at this point, you should have a completed character fully built and ready to go with all its particularities well in place. Personality, appearance, backstory. It can be very helpful to build your character in specific threads / dedicated pages on the forums / websites dedicated to the RP community. There will be, as I said in at the end of step 1, there will be links for that in the description of the video or at the glossary at the very end of the video. Step 3. So you have entered the game with your perfectly thought out character, complete with a forum profile / page for him, appearance, personality and backstory. You find yourself lost in the brand new world you see before you. Now what? Well, from here there are 2 paths you can take. You can simply start RPing, or you can get to the level cap first, which I recommend because of the ease of access. After that point, you can access more areas in the game where you can organize RP events or take part in RP events. So I deeply recommend you actually play the game, get to the level cap, not necessarily do every bit of the content, but get to the level cap so you can easily access and kill mobs and stuff like that. Anyway, for any of the 2 paths, the plan is simple. Join the different chat channels and ask where the RP hub is. I recommend joining either General or World. That's actually World is a better idea because that's where everybody is. So you can ask there. The hub is the place, such as a tavern or a building, that is used by the players as a gathering place for RP events and interaction. In World of Warcraft, don't go to the Goldshire Inn. Never go to Goldshire. And don't ask in trade chat where the hub is. Never ask in trade chat. Anyway, moving on from that, from the hub you can start making friends, enemies, and go on adventures or join a guild. You can actually search the forums and threads and all the stuff you have done in the first part of the video, the first part of the steps, the step 1, and you can join a guild right at that point. Do not forget, in the RP hub you can only interact with others in IC or in character, as I've talked about this in the last episode of this series. Never OC, only in the Whisper channel, yeah. To make sure that everyone around you understands that you are in character, do not run like your character usually does, but walk slowly. Now, there's a key binding for a key to toggle the 2, so it's good. You just look at the key bindings and you'll find it somewhere in the first part of them, in that section. Anyway, keep in mind, at this point, you should have completed step 1 and 2 and found the main RP hub for your server so that you can easily go to step 4, which is mingle and socialize. You have the knowledge, you know the rules, you have the character built, and you know where to go to find the RP community members. Time to go and roleplay. Immerse yourself in the environment and in your character's personality and start interacting with the other players. A common sign of other RPers is seeing characters walk, not run, as I've said. So if you follow these steps, you will be able to start your integration in the RP community at a fast and healthy pace. Now, there are things I haven't mentioned in this video that you should learn, and that's gonna come in the next episode, which I'm trying to get to do really quick, because you need to know what channels to use for what type of stuff, and that's gonna all come in the next episode, so stay tuned for that, which is interaction. Anyway, hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, don't forget to smash that thumbs up button, go check the EOD community, and join us, become a dreamer, become part of this great gaming community. And until next time, don't forget to write your stories in the annals of the internet and never stop dreaming.